Hey everyone, Dan Mortimer with eXp Realty bringing you another weekly market update. This is for the real estate update with data as of Monday, February 17th, 2025. Another week has come and gone. This is an update for the Las Vegas and Henderson real estate markets. Let's dive into the data. Lots going on. So in the last 7 days, we've seen 916 new listings hit the market. We also had 159 that went back on the market in the last 7 days. We had 743 listings in our market that had some sort of price decrease. Again, as I mentioned before, could be $1, could be $100, could be hundreds of thousands of dollars. But 743 price decreases in the last week alone. Diving into the under contracts, we had 312 listings that went into under contract show status and another 447 that went into under contract no show status. So in total, you're talking about 759 compared to 916 new listings. We had 488 listings that went to sold status, deal closed out, everything was wrapped up. And then we have another 109 that were put into coming soon status. So an interesting trend that we're continuing to see. Our inventory is building up little by little. It's a very, very gradual process, but we had, so like I said, 759 go under contract compared to 916 new listings. So again, our inventory is gaining a little bit of traction, going up just very slightly each and every week for the last, 3-4 weeks now. As far as active listings go in our market, we have 5,635 single family homes on the market. We have 1,226 condos and another 827 townhouses that are active listings. And I mentioned this before in previous updates. What we're seeing now is kind of the symptoms of a very balanced market. If you look at just the raw data, normally we need to have 5 to 6 months worth of inventory. That means that basically the number of homes that are going under contract and selling, if we put no new listings on the market, then the current supply that we would have would last, for a balanced market, it'd last about 5-6 months. Right now, we're still sitting around 3 months worth of inventory, which normally would indicate a pretty aggressive seller's market. But because of the high rates, because prices are at all-time highs, and just because everything is a little bit slower, well, it's a lot slower than what we typically see in markets that we've been in the past, 2018, 2019, where things were more balanced, but there was more overall activity. Things are just a little bit slower right now. So even though our inventory is sitting at, like I said, 3 months, which is normally a key indicator that it's a strong seller's market, I would say it's still pretty balanced. Our inventory numbers, like I said, 5,600 homes on the market may sound like a lot, but when you think about how many or over 1 million homes in the Las Vegas Valley that are privately owned, 5,600 is not a lot. Usually when we have a more balanced market and 6 months worth of inventory, that number is closer to 10,000 than it is to 5,000. But still definitely an indicator based on the number of new listings and the number of under contract listings happening each week. We are seeing that inventory start to grow. I think this is going to continue to be the pattern until we start to get into our peak buying months, which are likely to start really any time. It could be that it starts a little bit later. Maybe people are hoping with the new president and things going with the Fed that that the rates will start to lower. I don't know that that's necessarily going to be the case. A lot of people I've talked to have been saying that the rates are going to stay the same. Really and truly, anybody who tells you what they think is going to happen, whether that means rates are going to shoot up or shoot down, they really don't know. We really don't know. I remember talking to lenders in 2022 when the rates jumped up, and they were saying, oh, well, yeah, the rates are going to go up a little bit, but by the end of the year, it's going to be back down to the high 4s, the low 3s for interest rates. And did that happen? Absolutely not. So people can be in the know, people can have inside information, or what they tell you is inside information. Really and truly, nobody knows. We can guess, we can theorize, but ultimately at the end of the day, nobody really knows exactly what's going to happen with our markets. We could have things happen that are completely out of our control in the future that nobody knows about right now that have an impact on rates going up or down. So, but ultimately, I think, like I've said before in previous updates, this is still a good time for buyers to get in if your situation is that you're thinking about buying, you're in a position to do so, and you're going to stick around town for a while. This is definitely a good market to do it because sellers are still bending to buyers. Doesn't mean that you're going to get everything that you want on every single home every single time, but generally speaking, because the market is slower, because the days on market is higher than it was when 2020, 2021, and even the beginning of 2022, where it was just a feeding frenzy and sellers had all the leverage, they were getting everything they wanted because they just had a line of buyers trying to purchase their home. Now it's a little more balanced. Sellers have to give a little, buyers have to give a little, and ultimately I think that's the healthiest market. Even though the overall number of sales is a lot lower, I think this represents the healthiest market for buyers and sellers because both sides have some leverage, but they have to work together to put together a sale for a home. So to me, I think this represents an ideal market for buying for sure, and even for selling as well, especially if you're selling and looking to get into another home. More sellers are willing to accept contingencies on the sale of your home. And if you price your home well, you're going to have activity. You're going to have buyers coming to your home as long as it's reasonably priced and well marketed. So it's definitely a situation where, like I said, to me, I think this is a healthy market as opposed to what we've had in the past where it's either a really strong buyer's market or an extremely aggressive seller's market. There's a little more balance here, a little more give and take on both sides, which I think benefits all parties. I mentioned it. I have a video that I'm going to be putting up this week that addresses, something we found out in January, but I'll briefly address it here. We hit an all-time price record in January, which is crazy to think. The previous record was set in May of 2022, and we haven't been able to hit these prices again until last month, January of 2025. But the interesting thing to me is last year was the slowest as far as the number of total transactions. I mentioned this before, the lowest number of transactions nationwide since 1994. In Las Vegas, it was the lowest we've had since 2008. The difference was in 2008, homes were selling for half the cost or even less than half the cost of what they're selling now. And yet we're still hitting that all-time high number with a low number of transactions happening in the market. So it'll be interesting to see how things play out as we get later into the year, because usually you hit your price records at the end of the peak buying season because the prices get driven up by buyer activity. That usually happens in July, August. In 2022, it happened in May. But we're in January. We just got out of January. We're into mid-February now, and we're at all-time highs already. So there's a good chance that we may see this continue. We may continue to see record prices. We may see things remain flat. Again, just like we were talking about with the interest rates, nobody really knows exactly what's going to happen. All we have to look at is past data and trends of things that will affect our Las Vegas market. People are still coming to Las Vegas in droves. Our city is continuing to grow. Our infrastructure is growing. There's a ton of development and projects coming in and new housing developments all over Henderson, Las Vegas, North Las Vegas. It's happening everywhere. So I would expect that the number will continue to grow, even if we don't necessarily see prices continue to climb each month through 2025. I do think that overall our prices are going to continue to climb year over year. So if you like this information, there's two ways that you can support this channel and help me to continue to grow. The first is the easiest. There's a subscribe button on my channel and all my videos. If you click that, think of it as like following me on Instagram or Facebook. There's no cost to subscribe. I'm not going to hound you or bug you or anything like that, but it does give you notifications when I post new videos on my channel, and just gives you an opportunity to know what's going on in our market and keep an update on where things stand as far as real estate in Henderson and Las Vegas. The second way that you can support this channel is I put a link in the description of all my videos where you can set up a one-on-one meeting with me. It can be over the phone, it can be over Google Meet, it can be in person, whatever you prefer, but it gives me a chance to get to know you a little bit better, learn a little bit more about your situation and what your real estate goals are. And then we put a plan in place to put together to help you to achieve that. Like I said, there's no cost, there's no obligation. I'm not going to charge you anything for sitting down with you. Like I said, it just gives me an opportunity to connect with you and see what I can do to help. So I hope you guys got some value out of this. I will see you next week.